Today is Wednesday, September 2, 2020. This is episode number 59. The SEC modernizes the accredited investor definition. This is the 39.6 Facebook Live Finance Show. The show that teaches high earners like yourself how to make your money work for you so you don't have to work for your money. We talk general investing, taxes, real estate, syndications, Airbnb, and even the car you drive. This is take 2. We are broadcasting live from Broken Bow, Oklahoma. This is just across the Texas-Oklahoma border. We are in this cabin, not on Airbnb or VRBO, but directly through a company that leases out these properties, and we're here for a handful of days. The Wi-Fi is working and pretty good, so we can broadcast live. All right, so the SEC modernizes the accredited investor definition. So first of all, the SEC is the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. So securities are things like stocks or bonds or any investment, basically. And exchange is, well, when we buy or sell these. Okay, so they are the governing body that oversees the stock market and rules, as well as the rules that go into things like syndications or whatnot. And we've tossed around these terms 506B and 506C, and these are related to Reg D in the SEC rules. And the SEC just updated the definition of accredited investor. And for 506C investments, you do need to be an accredited investor. For 506B, you do not have to be an accredited investor, but you need to be either an accredited investor or at least what they call a sophisticated investor, where you have knowledge of the investment and you have to have an underlying relationship with the people putting the deal, which is why they can't really be advertised to the public, or at least one of the reasons. Okay, so the accredited investor definition has been in conversations for expansion in terms of its definition for quite a while. And just as of August 26, 2020, and I will link to this in the comments, they made an update to this. Okay, so just as a review, and we've touched on this a number of times, the underlying definition of accredited investor prior to this update: an individual with income, earned income exceeding $200,000 or $300,000 together with a spouse for each of the 2 prior years, with a reasonable expectation to do the same in the current year. That's one way. So that's the income method. Then the other is the net worth method, which is a net worth of $1 million alone or together with a spouse, but not including any equity in your homestead, in your primary residence. That's number 2. That's the net worth option. Then there's a few others. A trust with total assets with at least $5 million, okay, which is not designed just to acquire the security, okay, whose purchase is directed by a sophisticated person, okay, who understands the investment. Okay, now there's also another umbrella term for if you have an entity, but all of the members of the entity are all accredited investors, that entity can also invest. So this is one of the things where if you want to invest in something, but you don't want to use your own name, but you want to use an entity name, you can still be okay to use that entity as long as all of the people, all of the members are accredited investors. So if it's like just you or your spouse, you can use your own LLC, that's fine. Now, some people, for example, for some asset protection purposes, may put another member into that LLC. So they may put another, let's say, unrelated person or maybe a related family member. Now, if that person's not accredited, then that LLC would not be an accredited business because you'd have a member in there that's not accredited. Okay. Now, those are the main ones. Now, there were expansions. Okay, and I'm going to read this from the memo. Okay, they added a new category to the definition that permits natural persons to qualify as accredited investors based on certain professional certifications, designations, or credentials, or other credentials issued by an accredited educational institution, which the Commission may designate from time to time by order. In conjunction with the adoption of the amendments, the Commission designated by order holders in good standing of the Series 7, Series 65, and Series 82 licenses as qualifying natural persons. This approach provides the Commission with flexibility to reevaluate or add certifications, designations, or credentials in the future. Members of the public may wish to propose for the Commission's consideration additional certifications, designations, or credentials that satisfy the attributes set out in the new rule. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff they talk about here, but Series 7, Series 65, and Series 82, these are different licenses that people in the investment world have. Okay, so like brokers of investments, Series 7 is, this one is like the basic bread and butter one. Okay, this one is a Series 7 exam licenses the holder to sell all types of securities, products except commodities and futures, known formally as the General Securities Representative Qualification Exam. This Series 7 exam and its licensing is administered by FINRA, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. Okay, and you need to be sponsored by an association to do this. You can't just like take the test and have the license. Series 65 is a higher license level that people have. It's designated by the North American Securities Administrators Association and administered by FINRA. Okay, and this allows people to do. Okay, so this exam is known formally as the Uniform Investment Advisor Law Examination, covering laws, regulations, ethics, and various topics important to the role of a financial advisor. Okay, and it does allow commodities and futures. Okay, now lastly, the Series 82, which is something I honestly had not heard about, but this is a certification giving financial professionals representing a sponsor organization the ability to transact private securities. Okay, so that's why it's not talked about as much, because it's for private securities. So if you have any of those designations, even if you don't meet the net worth or income requirements, then you are also an accredited investor. Okay, so this will apply to some people, but maybe not a lot of people listening here. Now, there's another addition here, and that is that it includes accredited investors. Says with respect to investments in a private fund, natural persons who are knowledgeable employees of the fund. So if there is a fund and they are investing in private securities and it requires accredited investors, if you are an employee of that fund and you understand what's going on, even if you don't meet the net worth or income requirements, because you work for that fund, it's a reasonable understanding that you would understand what you're investing in so that you would be qualified. Okay. Now, it also clarifies LLCs with $5 million in assets. So previously I had mentioned a trust, but here it very clearly says limited liability companies with $5 million in assets may be accredited investors and add SEC and state registered investment advisors and rural business investment companies to the list of entities that qualify. So if you have an LLC with a $5 million in asset level, then your LLC would be also an accredited investor. It also includes family offices with at least $5 million in assets under management, as well as their quote unquote family clients. Okay. So family offices usually have a lot of money, but that was not clearly indicated as one of the accredited investor criteria before. So this is there now. And family offices often have 8 figures, even 9 figures or more. Okay. And the last, the term spousal equivalent has been included for the accredited investor definition. So spousal equivalents may pool their finances for the purpose of qualifying as accredited investors. So this may not necessarily apply to a lot of people, but certainly it does include certain people who would have knowledge of the investment, people who work for the fund, and also any entity with $5 million. Okay, so that opens that up and makes that more clear. And so there are some people who would not have qualified before, but certainly will qualify now, and they have access to these. All right, so that's it for today. Another short one on accredited investors. And Until tomorrow, we do episode number 60. Topic to be determined. Again, this is brought to you by the Marriage, Medicine, and Money podcast, coming at you in not too long, September 14th, just 12 days away. We are up to 450 something people in our Facebook group. Please help me get to 500 by next week. That's my goal. And until tomorrow, nothing you hear here is financial or legal or any other advice whatsoever. Simply entertainment for me, maybe for you. Have a great day.